never shine when the light grows dim. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one...
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Fear of a Flat Planet presented by Toyota. I'm your host, two-time Paralympic athlete, snowboarder, John Leslie, and I'm joined today with the newest member of the Canadian Para Snowboard team, but not new to snowboarding or extreme sports by any means whatsoever, Tyler Turner. Tyler, how are you today?
Great, man. Stoked to chat.
Nice. And where are you in Canada?
I'm currently in Campbell River, riding out my quarantine after the World Cup, my first World Cup.
Nice. Awesome. And so Campbell River, that's on Vancouver Island, correct?
Yeah, West Coast Canada, Vancouver Island, north of, halfway up the island on the east side.
Yeah. So that gives everyone I guess our listeners, because this will be you're the final member on the team that I've interviewed. And so we've gone to Edmonton with Lisa, Calgary, Montreal with Greg, and now all the way to the furthest West Coast with you. So it's cool, that we're a team, but we're also all across Canada. So you mentioned
we got the whole thing covered.
Right? I know. Makes it really easy for traveling and picking convenient locations.
Yeah.
If Winnipeg had mountains, that would be just the meet in the middle for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So you were telling us you were just at a contest in Italy. So successful. Tell us about that. I know that you've been really eager to snowboard, get into the start gate. COVID has been it just feels like anytime we get a contest on our calendar, it gets taken away. So you got to Italy. Take us through the success.
Yeah, it's been a crazy year because I'm anxious to see how I can do and to actually race. And I kept getting excited about events, then they get canceled and excited and canceled. I was kind of set on that there was not going to be an event this year. So just train hard and get ready for next year. And then a month ago, I get an email that Italy's going to run a World Cup. They're going to run back-to-back World Cups. And we think you should go. And I was excited. I tried not to get my hopes up too much because I knew it could all get canceled in a second. But I was just so excited to finally get to test myself and test the skills that we've been working on all season. And yeah, like you said, it ended up being a successful trip. So I'm pretty happy.
Oh yeah, first place.
Yeah. It was a great learning experience. I mean, I went there just to try and figure out how this whole thing works and how I'm going to fit into it. And I was lucky enough that they were back-to-back World Cups. So on the first day, I kind of almost literally fell flat on my face, but I fell a lot and kind of beat myself. And I was really frustrated, pretty down on myself, but it was probably the best thing that could have happened because it made me really think and get motivated. And lucky enough, I got to retry it all over again the next day because they were running back-to-back World Cups. So we changed the game plan. Greg and I had some pretty good chats about how we're going to switch it up. And I was able to go on Friday and even surprised myself with a win. So it was a really cool experience and I learned so much. And now I'm just more motivated for next season and just put in the effort this summer because I know what I have to do to be better next year.
Yeah, because you actually got to race other people with a similar disability as you. And not only similar disability, those guys are good. That whole category, Chris Voss, Elliot, Mike Schultz, those guys shred. And they've been doing it for a long time, disabled. And so I'm sure you've just been so curious about where do I stack up against these guys? What are the gaps? What do I need to be doing on snow, off snow? Am I far behind? Am I ahead? So what a fun way to be able to get to gauge yourself. And then, especially with a victory after having a little bit of a harder time the day before. So I love hearing stuff like that. And I'm glad that you
was my
Greg one-on-one time.
Yeah.
get through that contest together. Like, it's good for your first one to be in a nurturing environment. I was really lucky. My first para World Cup, I got to be alone with my coach at the time, so it was good.
Those guys, that was my final heat. Chris Voss, Mike Schultz, Noah Elliott, and I was literally in the start gate laughing, and Greg got pictures of me like laughing because I was like, what am I doing here? And like, I've been watching those guys ride since I've been literally laying in the hospital bed like 3 weeks after my accident. Those are who I found on the internet because that's who's ripping. And that's who I can, I guess, compare myself to or strive to be like. And I was standing in the start gate about to go head to head with them. And I'd been watching them snowboard for a couple of days. I ran a couple of heats I had one heat against Chris Voss, and I hadn't raced Noah or Mike. And I mean, they rip. Those guys shred so hard. So I was just kind of laughing, like, what am I doing here? And it's good because I got to just kind of ride pretty wild and loose and free.
Yeah.
I had achieved my goal. My goal is to make a finals. So I'd already achieved my goals. And I was able just to ride pretty loose, and definitely not sustainable riding like that going forward because I had 2 hand drags in the run and probably should have fallen. But man, those guys are amazing. And it was so cool to get to meet them, become friends with them, fast friends. And then to be able to compete against them is so awesome. And I look forward to doing it many more times in the future. Yeah.
And how'd you find that? Like, was that other than our team, I guess you had nationals last year. But that would that been really your first time in the international disabled snowboard community? And did you find I know it's really welcoming, but was it welcoming for you? Like, getting to meet the guys, did it kind of take the anxiety like off a pedestal, so to speak, of like, now you're in it, like these are the guys, your competitors and stuff?
Yeah, it was so great. I mean, Noah was awesome, really welcoming. Everyone was so welcoming, but Noah was really great to me and kind of like helped me just kind of figure out what I was doing there and any questions I had. They were all great. I could ask any questions, and a bunch of guys from that American team were really helpful. We've spoken online quite a bit before this, so yeah, it was great to finally meet everyone in person.
For you, now that you've had time to reflect, being the general after the war, do you think that you would have been as prepared had you not had the last season off training, or do you think that you would have been first place either way?
Well, I might have been first place in this event. I don't think I would have been first place in like the early events. It would have taken maybe a little bit longer to get into the swing of things. By this event, by having an entire season before, I felt pretty comfortable going down track. It was pretty sketchy too, because it was like plus 20 degrees, and
it did look like you guys were in a little bit of soup.
Yeah, it was definitely sketchy, but I think I would have picked it up early on too. It just was nice to have a long season of learning and progressing, and I've got so much to learn because I'm so not new to snowboarding, but I'm new to snowboarding with 2 prosthetics. So just like how to set up my feet, alignment, what I do differently. I keep reverting back to how I used to snowboard, and it takes a lot to break the habits and reteach myself how I have to snowboard now. And it was great to have an entire season, or most of the season, to spend on just really pounding that into my head and making sure that I'm riding the way I need to ride now, not the way I used to.
Yeah, I bet there's like so many changes and preconceived notions that you have from being a snowboarder. Because how long did you snowboard before you lost your legs?
I skied from as long as I could walk, classic story, and then I don't know, maybe around 8 or 10 years old, I got a snowboard, and yeah, there was kind of no turning back. I wasn't really allowed to get a snow. Well, not that I wasn't allowed to. I was just encouraged to continue skiing, and yeah, really wanted to snowboard. So yeah, once I got a snowboard, never really turned back. So that's I mean, let's say 10 till 29. I had my accident. So let's call it 19 years of snowboarding. That's a lot to try and change. It's pretty built in.
Yeah, fill us in maybe a little bit. Like you were snowboarding in that time. Were you racing, guiding? Maybe kind of take us up to your accident if you don't mind, and then sort of like what transpired in how you lost your legs and what your kind of disability is.
Yeah, sure. Well, I started skiing when I was like 2, probably, whenever I could walk.
8,
but
when you made the switch to snowboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was just always, I grew up in Calgary, so it was COP every day after school, and then mountains on the weekends, and that's just kind of how it was. So definitely grew up a little bit of a park rat, and then kind of just being an idiot in the kind of slack country, lift access backcountry, knowing absolutely no idea what I was doing. And kind of like, everyone. And yeah, tried my hand at competing, slopestyle and all that stuff. And my friends were way better than me. So I mostly ended up just shooting photos and trying to chase my friends around because they were all killing it. And so it was a sweet opportunity for me, and went to school in Vancouver Island for photography, kind of chased that a little bit, and realized maybe I wasn't going to be able to make a career out of that. So yeah, I was just shifting focus all over the place, working hard in operating equipment, and thought, man, I want to stay in snowboarding, and trying to figure out how I could make a living with snowboarding. And operating snowcats was kind of just made sense. I'd grown up operating equipment, and so started running snowcats at COP, and got some really great opportunities there, opportunities to like progress in park building. And it was a really cool time. I really enjoyed my time there, and I learned a lot from the best of the best, and got to work with some of the best, and so many rad opportunities. And I just I just ran out of energy working at night, I think was the biggest thing. Like it was kind of getting to me. So I wanted to go have a season or two, working in the backcountry.
If your goal was to make snowboarding your life, and then working at COP was good, but the sacrifice that came along with it was nights. So, hard to, have a routine, a girlfriend, a life outside of it. So be able to make that transition over. And it sounds just like a huge snowball effect kind of started to happen for you. So
yeah, I guess that's it. It was a snowball effect. That story is like random, and the timeline's way off and everything, but that's as boiled down as I can make it. But that's what it was. It was just a snowball effect, and I was just pursuing all these weird different avenues that kept coming up, and it got me into the backcountry. And then I was kind of going down that path, trying to get more training, do more courses and everything. And in the summer, I was just progressing myself as a skydiving coach, instructor, and keeping myself busy snowboarding in the winter and skydiving in the summer is pretty great. And then in the summer of 2017, I was, had an awesome summer skydiving. It was kind of coming to the end of the season. And one of the jobs that I did was filming people doing their first skydive. So when you jump out of the plane as a tandem skydiver, I would jump with you and film you doing your tandem skydive. And unfortunately, I had some complications with the landing, and had a pretty extreme accident, which caused me to have one leg amputated immediately, shattered my pelvis, and traumatic brain injury. And that's not half of it, but the list is too long for me to remember from a traumatic brain injury. But and that kind of started this whole new path that I'm on.
Yeah, crazy. So you would have hit the ground. Like, do you have any idea how fast you would have been going? Like,
I don't know. I don't like to try and guess, but let's say fast.
Yeah, it would take quite a bit of speed, just like right into the ground. And you were in the hospital for quite a while then, right? With, the first leg was immediately amputated, and then they tried to save your other one.
Yeah,
so
I was in the hospital for 3 months right off the bat, and then got out of there into rehab, GF Strong, did a while at GF Strong, and then I was rehabbing my right leg really well with a prosthetic. My left leg was probably gonna cause me to use a wheelchair the rest of my life. I could walk like a few steps here and there, but it wasn't pretty and it was extremely painful. So a year later, finally made the decision to amputate my second leg, which just sent life into another whirlwind. Although it was actually kind of a positive whirlwind, and I was quite excited for the second amputation because it meant that there was potential for me to walk again and get back to doing a lot of the things I used to do. So a year and a half later, I had my second leg amputated, which has left me as a bilateral below the knee amputee. And I call them my paper cuts because I feel like the rest of my injuries are the ones that really affect me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the most visual, but crazy, man. And to think that your accident was at the end of the summer of 2017. By the time you recovered, almost into 2018, a year and a half from that, 2019, 2 years later from 2019, you're standing on the podium next to those guys that you were watching on YouTube. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you, John.
See why that was a very happy moment for you personally.
It was such a happy, sorry, John. It was such a happy moment, but it was kind of crazy because I came across the finish line and I kind of pulled off on my own little area. And it was like such an incredible moment. And it's just like silence in the middle of the mountains in Italy, not a person there. It's just like the three competitors.
Oh, true.
And so man, you'd love to come across the finish line with even two people saying, good job.
Yeah. That's very crazy. And it goes to show that what we do isn't for the glory.
No.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's crazy, man. Crazy, crazy story how you became on our team. Stoked, obviously, to be your teammate. So you were watching these YouTube videos. You've seen other people. How did you get in touch with Canada Snowboard? Did you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you?
I mean, it had been mentioned to me a lot, and right off the bat in the hospital, you're, pair snowboard's gonna be for you and everything. And I kind of always brushed it off. And then I went snowboarding for the first time after having my second leg amputated. And it went actually really well, but poorly because the pain was so extreme. I put in a couple of days at Revelstoke and stuff, and trying to figure out how to get everything feeling better, and so I could snowboard for more runs a day. And I could only do maybe 2 or 3 was kind of the max runs a day. And then I went snowboarding with Mike Stastic, and we had an awesome day at COP. And he was kind of the one that really was like, dude, have you talked to Canada Snowboard? You should try and do this. And I was like, I sent an email to the coach, Greg Picard. I don't know him. And he's like, well, you got to get a hold of Mark Fawcett. He'll help you out. And Greg would have been great to me already too. Don't get me wrong. And so I sent Mark a message, and he's like, I don't even remember what he said back. I was like, hey, riding the chairlift with Stastic here. And I don't know how it ended up, but I went out and met up with you guys at a camp in Silver Star, Vernon, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was kind of it, late 2020.
What would you say would be maybe a misconception of being on the national team? Something that you maybe weren't expecting that you find challenging? Just to share a little bit more into our lives to the listeners.
It's a lot of work, and I'm learning quickly that it's not just fun and games. It requires full commitment, and and a lot of time and energy, time away.
It's a long time to, it's a big financial burden as well. We're really lucky on the para team to get the funding that we do receive, and any sport in Canada goes through the system, and it takes time and medals and years to get to. But yeah, the reality is a lot of those sort of bills do end up on our shoulders. So getting a hotel or an Airbnb for 14 nights isn't cheap.
I definitely, maybe that's it, is that it costs a lot to be on this team.
Yeah, the misconception is you pay a lot of money to be on the team.
Yeah. Although, like you said, I mean, I'm so thankful for the funding we do get. It's really cool that so much of this is able to be offset.
And it really matches, where we are. We debuted in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Our sport hasn't been around for that long, especially when you compare it to something like blind skiing or something. They've had time to build their organizations, fundraising, whatever it is. So yeah, I feel like we get a lot, especially compared to some other teams. Cool. So a little fun fact about Tyler. Tyler, you live most of your time on a boat, correct?
Yeah, I live full-time on a boat these days.
Full-time on a boat.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How did that become a thing? How does one take me through the steps of living on a boat?
Well, date someone that loves boats.
Yeah.
My girlfriend
just put an ad out on Craigslist, like looking for sailor babe.
Yeah, that's it. My girlfriend's family has grown up on a boat, essentially on a sailboat, and she loves sailing, and so she owned a sailboat when we started dating, and since then we've kind of like just slowly keep upgrading a little bit, and so this is the third boat, and I'm living on it as a bilateral amputee. So there's some like necessary comforts that I kind of needed, and I think we got a lot of that in this boat, although it's still a lot of work, and it's kind of where we put all our extra time and energy is into the boat. Yeah,
I bet that's cool. I really want to come out this summer, maybe even sometime soon.
Yeah, the boat's running really nicely this year, so you definitely have to come out and go fishing or something, or sailing.
Perfect. Heck yeah, sign me up. We'll start to look to May and June, and I'll get my butt out there because I want to go surfing with you too.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. So we kind of touched on it a little bit there. You were full-time industry guy before you lost your leg, winters in the mountains, and then obviously summers off to make up income. You were skydiving and stuff like that, and also doing it on the professional side. Are you still doing that? Jumping out of planes? Still what's going on?
Yeah, man, opening weekend this weekend, and I'm so excited. It took a lot of work to get my coaching stuff recurrent, and kind of had to get tested a little more
vigorously.
Yeah, a little more rigorous testing to like ensure I was up to the standards set out by CSPA, Canadian Sport Parachuting Association.
Yeah.
And I was able to pass everything and do it really well. So I got signed off kind of across the board for all my previous ratings, and then even was able to accomplish a higher level coaching rating last summer.
Sick. Congrats.
Which was really cool. Something I wanted to do before my accident, and obviously never got to. So going into this summer, I've got a lot of crazy plans, but I will be trying to work as much as a skydiver as possible. I've got some limitations now, especially like how much I can do it, because it does wear on my legs a lot. Not the skydiving part, the walking part, once I land. But I'm skydiving as much as humanly possible again, and I love every minute of it.
That's awesome, man. Whatever became of that wingsuit that you were kind of making? Did that come to fruition? Is it still coming down the line, or?
Yeah, so that there's actually I don't even know what it is anymore, but a film project of some sort. That was we finished it late. Well, we finished the wingsuiting portion late last season, late September, and yeah, I pulled it off. Yeah, so no other bilateral amputee has flown a wingsuit before this, as far as we can find. And so yeah, I'm flying wingsuits again and love it. So I'm so happy that I was able to get that feeling back.
Yeah, and you got it on tape too, so there will be our viewers will be able to watch this at some point. Yeah,
we got it, like, not just on tape, like we filmed it super well, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, this guy Zach Moxley, really stoked on that.
Yeah, well, please, keep me in the loop, and then for people listening out there, give Tyler a follow on Instagram, and you'll be able to find it that way. Cool. So you live a very extreme life, my friend. If you're not busy surfing or jumping out of planes or wingsuiting or winning gold medals at World Cups, I guess all your spare time, it sounds like now, is put into your boat. But let's say if you were to find yourself with 2-3 hours, you can't do extreme stuff. What do you like to do, Tyler? Are you a big movie theater guy? I know you dabble in the mini putt. Like, what could people catch you doing that's not extreme?
Yeah, I'll probably watch a movie. I love movies, or I watch a lot of hockey. So I probably have the hockey game from the night before recorded.
Who's your team?
Bruins and Flames, but we're gonna have to drop the Flames this year because it's not looking so good. So big Bruins fan.
Nice, cool, fun fact. Sweet, man. So the next few months for you, what do they kind of look like? Like, I've heard some rumors through the grapevine that you might be doing a bit of a surgery.
It's still kind of something I'm trying to figure out in my head, and sounds like it's a go. So yeah, surgery would put me down for a couple months, and just try and not lose too much fitness through that time, and then as soon as I can get my leg back on after that surgery, try and get in as good a shape as possible. I know, like, the critical thing for next season is I need my legs to be stronger, and I have some weakness from my back injury, especially my right leg is quite weak and lacks a lot of mobility. So try and get it as strong as possible, and get prepped for next season. Is going to be so huge, and it's a lot of racing, a lot of events, and like, my goal is to make that Paralympic team. So I just got to push as hard as I can and hope it all works out.
I highly doubt it'll put you in more pain, the surgery. So worst case scenario, come out in September at the same, but hopefully better. And then, like you say, that could just open up a huge door for you, double the training time or whatever it is. And, have that endurance, the endurance that we're going to need to have all next year. So yeah, take some time now, because it's going to be, it's going to be like drinking out of a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
Cool, dude. Well, where can people give you a follow? Like, you're mostly on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle? It sounds like you've got that really cool wingsuit video coming out. Any other projects coming down the line that people can follow along with, or, be a part of?
Yeah, Ty Turner 14 on Instagram is kind of where I spend way too much time. And yeah, the wingsuit thing, I don't know the timeline on that. Hopefully sooner than later. There's some other parts that need to get completed before that can come out, and there's a couple other projects that have been on the go. There's actually this girl Lara Shea filmed like a documentary of the recovery, and due to COVID and stuff, it's just kind of been set on the back burner. So I would hope that will get released at some point, but not really sure. And then there's a Tell Us Story Hive project going on as well, which that has tight deadlines on it. So I think July that'll be out, and it's kind of talking a lot about this whole like pursuit of the Paralympics. So it's relevant, and I think if you watch the Instagrams, I'll be pumping that everywhere, I'm sure.
Awesome. Hell yeah, man. It sounds like you've got a lot of exciting things going on. And as you should, you've worked really hard to be in this position, and you're going to be continuing to work hard. It sounds like you're about to go into the knife. So the sacrifices continue. I'm going to put an end in it there. I'm really happy with things. I really want to thank you, Tyler. I want to thank our sponsor, Toyota, and to you guys, the listeners, for joining us today. So Tyler, unless you have anything else to say, man, thanks for being a part of us.
No, right on, man. Thanks for having me. And always great to chat with you, John.